Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting from inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta. And if you are at a bank where they really have lost their personal touch, my suggestion is, and that's a lot of banks, frankly, my suggestion is you give Renaissance a try. Here's what I hear from clients that I refer to Renaissance, that they're big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them as a small business, but they're small enough to do their work and deliver their services in a personal way. Go to renaissancebank.com, find one of their local offices and give them a call and listen as a real person, I should say, answers the phone. That'll shock you. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome Jason Wong. Jason is with FinCay LLC. Jason, welcome.
Hey, John, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I hope you're well.
Doing good, yeah.
Are all your books balanced?
I think so.
That's an inside joke, folks. I know his books are balanced. You're going to hear why in a second. Jason, introduce how you're serving folks out there.
All right. As you said, I'm Jason Wong. I'm the owner of FinCay LLC, and we offer bookkeeping and tax services. Just like I was telling John a little while ago, we basically do all of your back office stuff, allow you to run your business. So we do all the boring stuff you don't want to do. You're doing your taxes, filling all your paperwork, and making sure your books are balanced so you can see what's going on with your business.
That's always a good thing, for sure. Before we get into the details of all that work, Jason, talk a little bit about your journey, your career journey, and why you settled into accounting.
Okay. So my journey actually had a bunch of twists and turns, even leading up to getting into the bookkeeping and tax world. I actually started out in healthcare. I always wanted to help people and always wanted to I'm more of a nurturing type. And I accidentally fell into the accounting world. And I started realizing that a lot of small business owners would fail, not because they weren't good at what they did, but because they weren't good at doing the business part in the background. The amount of business owners that I met that would close their doors because they forgot to pay a tax bill or didn't file it correctly, or they didn't renew a business license the correct way, and they would fail at business just because of administrative mistakes. So going through and going into the business world, I started working in the hedge fund world, working with the private equity hedge funds, and seeing how they look at your business as just a number on a spreadsheet. They don't see the people behind the investment. And seeing that, it made me realize that a lot of these small business owners, this is their livelihood, right? This is how they get through, and they're the actual lifeblood of the country, because the businesses, like I said, they don't care about the actual person. All they care about is profit. And seeing that and seeing how they treated businesses and how they treated everything as just profit, and then seeing how small business owners were struggling, it brought me in that direction to try to help people. So my first actual client was my colleague at the time was dating a girl whose father owned a bar and restaurant. And he was having a lot of problems just keeping track of his cash flow. Mm-hmm. He was literally hiding money under the floorboards.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't know how to use the bank properly. He didn't know how to make deposits. So he would stuff money in the floorboards out of fear of being robbed.
Wow.
And then, so he was bringing in a good amount of revenue, but wasn't paying the bills on time because he didn't have money in the bank, was paying all of his employees by cash. So, he was losing money because people were stealing and he couldn't tell. He's not reconciling his books.
Sure.
So we started helping him and actually got his stuff in order and we found out that 5 people were stealing from him.
Oh my gosh.
He was losing thousands of dollars a month on people just skimming money. And even just seeing that and how thankful he was for us finding that and making that small difference to make a business continue. I got dragged into it. Love it or hate it. And we got stuck in that niche of restaurants, bars and restaurants, and just, working through and helping people to actually figure out the back end part of that business.
We were talking before we came on the air. You've got some work experience at a restaurant in the restaurant industry, what the back of the house looks like. And from an administrative point of view, it's not a pretty sight.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight. I grew up in the restaurant business. My grandfather's a chef, my dad's a chef, great grandfather's a chef. My family's been in the restaurant business since the 1930s.
Wow.
And one thing you learn is that those margins are real small. A plate of food, they're making $2, $2-3 off of a plate. And so someone stealing from the restaurant can easily tank the business. They don't have much wiggle room.
Right.
And these people are working crazy hours. They're working 16, 18-hour days and working their butts off. And then for someone to steal from them, it's like, all right, it really makes you more passionate about trying to help them track these things and try to help them be successful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You provide bookkeeping services. Let's talk a little bit about that. And things are changing in bookkeeping in a good way, right? You've got a lot of technology tools out there that you can help bring to bear on a business owner to help them better understand their business.
Correct. Yeah. So we put most of our clients on QuickBooks Online. That way I can remotely help them with things. Even if I'm not there at their location, I can still help them. And it also allows me to outsource things. I can't even say outsource because they're actually my clerks. We train up high school and college age kids, and we bring them through an internship program, mentor them, and train them to do bookkeeping. And then when I bring them on as employees, they're already fully trained in QuickBooks. So I can actually have them doing daily updates on the transactions coming to the bank, which allows the businesses to have a live feed of what's going on in their accounts.
Right.
Making it easier to make business decisions. And so we're very remote, and then they can do everything on their phone, track their mileage. Everything's done through your phone and their laptops now. So the technology part of it is definitely making things a lot easier and giving them a lot more insight into what's going on. Because when I started out, we were doing the desktop accounting software. We'd have to go there every night, close the registers and do a cash count, do the whole that whole thing. Now it's literally just they can go on their phone and be like, how much do I have in my account? What invoices are outstanding? Boom, boom.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Let's talk, though, to business owners that they hear it's one of their worst fears, right? That they may have money walking out the door from theft. But at the same time, they hear how you work remotely and wonder, how does that work, right? How does that make me safer when it comes to keeping up with my business and making sure everything's locked down, as it were?
Okay, so the good thing about working remotely one, I have no access to actually do anything in your bank account. I'm just showing you the tracking.
Yeah.
I'm able to segregate duties for everything where no one can move anything in your account. So you're still fully in control of that. And the way that we're actually seeing whether money's walking the door or not is that same software. I'm tracking your inventory. That same software, I'm tracking your payroll. So if I see your inventory is going down and your revenue's not going up, and we're looking at and so we do that part as well, where we work as an outsourced CFO, or now I'm going back and looking and saying, hey, normally you're making 30% margin on these products. Now you're making 10. Where's the gap here? All right. And that kind of puts you to where you start to look and be like, all right, where's this product going? Is there wastage? And then we can even break it down even further and say, what time of day do you normally sell this? And we can look at your sales reports and be like, hey, it looks like around 3:00 on Fridays, your sales drop off, but you have things going through the register, but then you're still losing inventory. What's going on here? So you can pinpoint where things are happening. And actually I have one good example. One of my clients is a gas station owner, and they're giving out gift cards. And we noticed that the same thing, the fuel in the gas tanks was going down, but the revenue was coming down on the other side. So we started trying to figure out when the gift cards are being sold. And we pinpointed it on the security cameras of when these gift cards were sold, checked the cameras, and we could see that one of the gas station clerks was selling the gift cards at a discount.
Oh, lovely.
So just to make extra money, they would sell them for cash. And then, so they'd get $50 of gas for $20. So obviously it's killing the margins on the inventory. So perfect example of how we would help you secure that is noticing that difference. Hey, why is there a difference here?
Yeah. Wow. Folks, Jason Wong is with us. Jason is the owner of FinCay LLC, bookkeeping, accounting, tax firm here in the North Fulton area. Jason, you mentioned restaurants as an area of focus. Any other particular industries that you focus on?
There's other industries that we really like.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I was telling you earlier, we love doing contractors because they're like a big project-based situation where we can wrap everything in and see what's going on easily. So we love working with contractors. We love working with people that have those type of businesses, tree cutting businesses, lawn maintenance businesses where they have set projects. Honestly, it makes it easier for us to find things. But so those are the kind of ones we're focusing on now as well. But small to medium size businesses that are trying to grow and trying to get that structure in place.
Right. We talked about the issues with restaurants, bars that they have, and dealing with cash and malfeasance and what have you. But let's talk about contractors. What are some of the big issues that they have that you solve?
Similar issues, actually.
Oh, really?
Just in a different way.
Okay.
It's usually more inventory issues than anything. Getting materials in and people taking pieces of material, shortages of things. It's usually one way or another. You'd be surprised how much theft happens. And it's not even always that people realize they're stealing. They think that they're just taking the extra material. So a lot of that happens.
Or maybe they're using more than they need to use in doing the job. They're not maybe stealing it, but they're just using more than they need to use.
Or exactly. Or they're just being inefficient, basically, where they're using way more material than they should. And a big thing with the contractors that they always are happy about is actually tracking all the bills, because they're usually getting a big lump sum of bills up front that they're paying over time as they get through their project. And keeping track of all those bills is where most of them have their main issues, because they're focused on building. They're focused on their project, and they have 20 different vendors with 20 different vendor credit lines going on and when it's due. And so helping them track those bills and helping them, just giving them notices like, hey, this is coming up. That's usually where the contractors get a lot of value out of what we do.
Yeah, I can see that. And they're on the move.
Yeah.
So it's really, when you're talking about cloud accounting, where you can access information on a mobile device.
Exactly.
That means a lot to them.
Exactly. That means everything to them. Telling a contractor to get on his laptop is like a mission. They're like, I'll get home at around 7, let me put the kids down. And then it's like you said, they're on the road constantly. They're not probably not near Wi-Fi all the time. Like, it's rough. And a lot of times too is they don't stop to think about what deductions they can get while they're out there on the job site. Mm-hmm. And that technology helps with that a lot. Just having that mileage tracking on their phone, tracking when they actually buy meals for the guys, all those things don't come to mind until you get to tax season.
Yeah.
And by then it's too late.
Yeah. You really need to be tracking these things all along.
Yeah.
It strikes me, Jason, that the idea here of your services is that businesses save a lot more when it comes to protecting against theft, when it comes to saving on taxes, when it comes to being able to better manage their business and make decisions better because they've got contemporaneous financials. All that adds up to a whole lot more than what they pay you.
Exactly. Yeah, because we basically set all of our prices based on situationally where the business is at. If they're a small new business, we're going to charge them way less, and then we basically grow with them. Mm-hmm. That's our main thing. We're always like, we want to grow with you so that we have long-term clients. We're not there to try to destroy the business. And we just do year-over-year contracts. And if you see value in what we're doing and you're growing, then we readjust the rates to fit your current situation. So yeah, that's where it's at. You only take a client on a year at a time, basically, and roll it over as if they continue to like what you're doing. Exactly.
Wow. That's terrific.
I'm a big proponent of not forcing people to stay anywhere. I feel like if we don't feel like we're giving you value, then...
Well, and that obviously illustrates a high confidence in the work you do.
Yeah.
So you're not holding people to some long-term contract and not really doing a great job. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great work from Jason Wong, folks. He's the owner of FinCay LLC. So let's talk about tax planning for a minute. We talked about tracking deductions and doing your books throughout the year. And how not doing that cost you in the end.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some other tax planning issues that business owners have that cause them to pay too much in taxes.
Yeah. So especially when they actually start making money. So you'll see a lot of business owners when they first start out and they're not making anything, then it's not a problem. I can easily find deductions for a small amount of money. But when they start making the real money and then they start trying to figure out where to put the money, for one, social media has a whole bunch of baloney that can get you like in a whole lot of trouble.
Oh,
so that's
okay. Deb, we got to say more about that. What kind of baloney's out there we need to be alert to?
Oh no,
Jason.
Oh, man, I have so many. Like
Really?
the number one that I had during what was that? When the first came out, 2020, 2021, when they came out with the with deductions for large vehicles, accelerated depreciation, and business owners that are making $60,000 a year would come and say, "Hey, I heard online that I can write off a G-Wagon." And I'm like, "You're gonna write off a $375,000 truck, and your business made $60,000. What are you writing it off against?" Like I have to keep reminding them, like,
Yeah.
the number one rule in the IRS is it reasonable?
Right.
And I'm like, you made $60,000 and you're buying a $375,000 truck. I'm like, you're asking for an audit. Like you're just asking to get audited.
Yeah.
Everything from, hey, let's do a business meetings on a cruise ship, and same thing. I'm like, if you're making $100,000 a year and you spend $30,000 on a business meeting, no, it has to be reasonable. Yeah. If you're Bill Gates and you have a meeting on a cruise ship, that's a whole different story. Yeah, a lot of those blanket statements they put on those try to get you in. Hey, save all everything and you can go on crazy vacations to wherever and write it off. It's
Yeah, the IRS and tax collection agencies generally, at state level, for example, they're a lot smarter than this. They process the returns of thousands of businesses. Because of that, they learn a lot and they know what's reasonable and what's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It has to be within reason.
Yeah. You mentioned reasonability. What are some of the other issues that you need to address with business owners in order to properly plan?
With tax planning, as far as a lot of times people aren't projecting out what their revenue is going to be. So they're not planning on what to put away for retirement. They're not planning out what investments they can put into that are deductible because they just don't even know what they're making. They're not planning it out. I think financial projections are a huge part of your financial planning. Without that, you really just have no clue. If you come to an accountant without some projections of what you're going to make, they're just going to be like, all right, I guess you can put it in a 401k. Like they're not going to have anything for you. But the tax planning options are limitless, just depending on what you have coming in and how much you want to offset it by.
I would think, Jason, that one of your issues would be just getting a business owner to sit down and have a conversation, right? I mean, that you've got a lot of tools to offer, but getting a small business owner to pump the brakes, let's pull off and focus on the business, and as opposed to, as the old saying goes, working in the business.
Yeah.
Well, let's focus on the business here for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge problem. I have the same problem.
I think we're all guilty of it to some degree. We're good at talking about it, but
I have my own personal time. I get that issue, but that's also that's back where we come in, where by us stepping in and even helping with the admin work and the bookkeeping and allowing you to have a second to step back and breathe. Because the reality of it is that it's not that they don't want to step back and look at it. It's that they're looking at the next bill. They're looking at the payroll. Right. They're looking at what costs they have coming up to keep their business running. Yep. And it's easy to put your head down and just you're grinding. Gotta get this done. And you'll look up and you didn't move forward anywhere, right? And actually, the way I usually get most of the business owners to sit down is that I get most of my clients come in around tax season because they'll try to get their taxes done and they'll see their tax bill and it'll put the fear of God in them. and then that's when they sit down with me. So like I use that as, hey, look at your tax bill. If we sit down and do this, we can half that or even potentially even zero that out if we plan correctly. And that's how you get them to sit down for a second.
And that's a great investment. You're alluding to something that's, I think, really important. That is a great return on investment, right?
Yeah.
To spend that time, because we're not talking about days and weeks. You do all the hard work.
I do all the hard work.
Yeah. We're talking about just taking an hour or two to plan, and the return on that planning is, and then of course what they pay you in fees. When you add all that up, the return on that investment is significant.
Oh yeah, it's definitely significant.
Yeah.
Like big time. At least 2 to 3 times that they're saving versus what the fees are going to be.
Jason Wong, folks, with FinCay LLC. Jason is the owner of his company and has been around since 2019 is what I think.
2019 on the U.S. side, yeah.
Okay. Terrific. By the way, I was shocked to hear that all hedge funds care about his numbers. I was shocked to hear that. Yeah. And that's really I think an overlooked part of what someone like you does, right? Because is looking at the people side of some of the decisions that business owners have to make.
Exactly.
You're all about numbers, but you've got a vision into the people side of the business that I think a lot of business owners, they don't really expect that from their accountant.
Yeah.
But you have that, right?
Yeah. I think the main thing and this is what I usually get from my clients, is that they're just like, you actually answer your phone. That's what I get. They're just like, every other accountant I had, they just don't even.
They don't even answer the phone.
The tax filing happens, and then they just don't even answer the phone. And which, for better or for worse, I answer my phone. Or at least I'll message you back and be like, hey, I'm in the middle of something. Let me get back to you, something. So I think that's just because I tend to just care. I'm like, hey, like I see that most small business owners are really great people that are just trying to feed their families. Mm-hmm. And I know how I feel when I'm running my businesses, and I see that my business provides for my family and keeps my family fed. So when I feel like someone needs something, I don't want to leave them out to dry, because I'm thinking about their family. I'm thinking about their kids eating that night, and I'm thinking about what they sacrificed to even start a business, which I'm sure the amount of business owners you had on, they can tell you how much you sacrificed to start your own business. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee check every 2 weeks when you're a business owner. That's what I think about when I get these calls from people, and that's why I always answer, even if people get upset when I'm always answering my phone. I feel like I'd want people to do the same thing for me.
Right. Wow. Great work from Jason Wong. Jason, what you've talked about several different kinds of businesses you work with, but I think it'd be great if you could share a success story or two that helps illustrate the great work you do.
Okay. I have a bunch of them. Let's see. Let's pick one. One of my first clients that I had, they were actually in a manufacturing business, and they were just making bags, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a crazy business. Like anytime you're in manufacturing, the time and the volumes of things is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But when we started out with them, they literally had zero clue what was going on in their accounts. They were making over $1 million a year, but all of their credit cards are behind.
Oh, wow. All
their bills are outstanding. Interest was racking up on their loans and all their credit cards, because they just didn't know what to do with the business side of it. Since then, within 2 years, we got them all up to date, cleared out got their debt down, and they actually sold the business and made a profit off of it within 3 years.
Wow.
So
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, how do I know, Jason, that if I'm a business owner and maybe I've got an existing accountant or bookkeeper, tax preparer, how do I know I need to pick up the phone and call you? What symptoms do I have in my business?
Number one, if they don't answer the phone.
Well,
you can't even get them on the phone to ask a question. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah,
and two, if they're not even touching base with you to see whether you see what updates are happening with taxes of businesses. If you feel your bill is way more than it should be, those are 3 symptoms that you should potentially pick up your phone. You should be surprised how often that happens, where people are paying way more than they should just because to be fair, some people don't have time. They don't put aside the time to touch base and keep up with those things. And the tax laws are constantly changing. And we're in election year right now. So as whoever comes in next, the chances of an overhaul in taxes are these days is pretty much almost guaranteed. There's going to be some huge changes. And if you don't have someone that's keeping up with that and actually touching base with you, be like, hey, listen, things changed, this shifted. Maybe we should rethink this plan. Then you should pick up the phone.
Jason Wong is with us, folks. And to that point, let's get to the most important question is when they pick up that phone, where do they need to call and how else can they get in touch with you?
All right. So you can call me directly. Actually, I still talk to all the clients in the onboarding process. You can call me directly at my own number, 404-451-6434, or you can email me at my business email, jason@fincayinc.com, or you can go to our website and put a query there at FinCay LLC.com, and we'll get back to you. And usually we get back within 24 hours. Yeah, that came from the hedge fund world. Those tight turnarounds. 24 hours or you're in big trouble. So yeah, we're stuck in that habit.
That's a good habit to have right there. Jason, congratulations on your great work. We're just delighted we could shine a light on that work and get the word out on what you're doing. So congratulations on that, and thanks for coming in.
All right. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, just a couple of quick things before we let you go. Speaking of restaurants, if you don't know about Casa Nova Italian Restaurant, you need to know. Casa Nova is a family-owned and operated restaurant. They've been serving classic, authentic, traditional Italian cuisine since 1998. Just might do the math. That's all over a quarter of a century. So they know what they're doing over there. And they were farm to table before that was cool. They've got a garden behind the restaurant in which they grow all sorts of fresh vegetables and herbs that go into their cook-to-order dishes. Go to CasaNovaRestaurant.com to learn more, and also remember that they have catering. So if you need some catering done for a special summer party or dinner you're having, they know what they're doing. They're terrific. We love Maria and her family and her whole team out there. They do great work. And folks, I've got a book out. If you're a solo, small services provider and you've got issues around your value, your positioning, your business development, your pricing, this book may be for you. It's called The Generosity Mindset: A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. To learn more, go to thegenerositymindset.com, or that's a good place to go. But you can also go on to your favorite book retailer and buy the book. It's available everywhere. Also, just a big thanks to you, our listener. You have supported us in this show for over 8 years now. We're coming up on show number 800. And we're excited about that. And we've only gotten this far because of you. Thank you for that. Thank you for your support as we continue to highlight great business owners like Jason and shine the light on the work they're doing. We appreciate your support also as we live into our mission to be the voice of business in the North Fulton region. So for my guest, Jason Wong, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.